بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. الحمدلله الصلاة والسلام علی رسول الله محمد و علی آله و اصحابه اجمعین. بیننده های بسیار نهایت عزیز تلویزیون ایمان و برنامه انعکاس و پروگرام امروز به برنامه امروز ما خوش آمدین. امیدوار هستم صحت و سلامت بوده باشین و روزگار عید و ایام عید به خوبی و خوشی سپری شده باشه. با این امید ما امروز برنامه انعکاس شروع میکنیم. قراره که شما میفهمین برنامه انعکاس معمولا سر موضوعات مختلف ما منعکس کننده نظریات، مشکلات و چالش هایی که در جامعه ما رخ میده ما معرفی کننده از این مسائلی که باعث میشه سرش صحبت کنیم. با این ارتباط امروز یک پروگرام مخصوص و یک میمان بسیار گرامی و مخصوص همراه خود داریم که بعد از چند لحظه اینا رو معرفی میکنیم به شما و سر یک موضوع بسیار واقعی و اسفناکه که تقریبا 1.5 یا 2 سال پیش اگه اشتباه نکنم رخ داد و این یک قصه بود که کلگی را شاک داد و امروز این قصه به اند مقبول الحمدلله تبدیل شده که از زبان میمان بسیار گرامی ما که عبارت از اسپوجمای جان نصیری می باشه و اینا همیال مقابل ما قرار دارن و ما اینا را خوش آمد میگم و در این زمان اسپوجمای جان نصیری را پیش که معرفی کنم. نصیری را بگویم که در اینجا یا بزرگ شدن و زبان فارسی و پشتو صحبت میکنن و زبانی که در روان صحبت میکنن انگلیسی است و در اینجا که ما برشان اجازه میدیم هر رقم که خودشان خود آرام احساس میکنن یک پروگرام خودمانی است با مو زبان صحبت کنن انشالله که بیننده های ما اینا را از مو صحبت هایشان درک میکنن و میفهمن صحبت خود. اسپوجمای جان ناصری، سلام علیکم و رحمت الله و برکاته. ناصری
و علیکم السلام محترم بیادا جان، صحتتان خوب بخیر؟
سلامت باشین. خوش آمدین به پروگرام امروز انعکاس و ما درباره اسپوجمای جان بگویم که اینا از سال 2006 تا حال تحصیلات خود در امریکا تکمیل کردن و از سال 2006 تا حال در قسمت ایمیگریشن لا پرکتیس میکنن. الحمدلله یکی از وکلای بسیار موفق هستند و نه تنها که وکیل موفق هستند، در خود قسمت مسائل اجتماعی هم فعال هستند، یک اکتیویست هستند و اینا که در بورد کیر، شما با کیر آشنا هستین و کیر در بوردش پرزیدنت چپتر سان فرانسیسکوش برای 3 سال بوده و فعلا هم عضو بوردشان است و یا ما فکر میکنم که هنوز خودشان در این باره میگه. اسپوجمای جان در این باره یک کم بر ما توضیح بدین که شما در کیر چی رقم رول همیال بازی میکنین پیش که به اصل موضوع بریم.
تشکر محترم به دعوتتان، با خوش آمدین. CARE است به ارگانیزیشن به نام Council on American Islamic Relations. 30 چپترها داره و در سان فرانسیسکو چپترش که هست دمی 3 سال رئیسشان بودم و 3 سال دیگر در بوردش بودم. حالا فعلا به ترم لیمیت که بود فعلا در بوردش نیستم، مگم کارا والنتیر چیزاکتشان میکنم.
الحمدلله. پیش از اینکه بریم در اصل موضوع یک سوال داشتم برای اینکه بسیار بیننده های ما درباره کیر مثل که شما گفتین همین فعالیت عمده کیر چی است، یعنی چی رقم یک رول برای کمیونیتی بازی میکنه و اگر میره به صورت خلاصه بگین، اگه به انگلیسی هم بگین فرق نمیکنه انشالله که بر ما قابل هضم.
تشکر. من در انگلیسی میگم CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations, is the largest civil rights organization serving Muslim Americans all over the United States. They have over 29 to 30 chapters, and the largest is LA and San Francisco. They represent Muslims in all walks of life, whether they're discrimination at the airport, whether they're discrimination on the job, or any type of discrimination or bullying in school. So they take every aspect of civil rights for Muslim Americans all across the United States. And it doesn't matter from what background people are, as long, they're still the Muslim community.
Thank you so much for that. Now we're going back to our story. بیننده بسیار عزیز، ما به فارسی صحبت میکنم، بعضی وقتا به انگلیسی و از خاطر اینکه آسان‌تر شه موضوع. ما یک قصه را یا یک واقعه را، یک حادثه را به خاطر داریم که پیشتر قرار گفتم. در این باره ما از اسپوجمای جان خواهش میکنیم که به ما بگوین که همین واقعه چی وقت صورت گرفت. When did it happen and what was the casualty and what was the result of that. If you can say a little bit few words about this, John.
So, Mera Blossom in Janata Biadara Waidila, the accident happened the February 3rd, 2019. His family initially. So his Biadaja Nochda Babakshish, he lived in Concord with his 7 children and his wife. My understanding was the family migrated to the United States, to Texas around 2016 and 2017, and then they've just been here for a few years in Concord in the Monument, Detroit area. Very familiar with that area because I grew up in Concord myself. And then unfortunately on February 3rd, 2019, as an Uber driver, he was instantly killed by a drunk driver going on the wrong way of the freeway on a Highway 101 or San Francisco area. He had served as a translator for the US government and migrated his family to the United States.
May Allah bless his soul. And yeah, there was a very big tragedy and affected everybody. So now the story goes by that he left behind و هفت اولاد پسر خود ماند و با خانمش و چند سال شده بود اسپویلمان جان که برادر ما در امریکا آمده بودن. چقدر وقت میشد؟
من فکر میکنم که 2016 یا 2017 در امریکا آمده بودن و تکساس چند سال اینجا در کالیفرنیا آمده بودن و آنها در کانکورد طرفای کانکورد کتشان بودن.
و قرار شما گفتین راننده اوبر بودن و فامیلش هم 7 طفل خورد داشت. کلانترین طفلش به وقت چند ساله بوده؟
16 ساله بود. دخترکش 2 تا دختر داره، 5 تا بچه نمخته. خورترکش در وقت 2 ساله 3 ساله بود. وقتی که می اکسیدنت شده بود پدرجان شکیفت کرده بود در کانکورد کمیونیتی ها به نفر یک نام سعادت برگزای کسای چند تا دیگه اونا لطفا جمع شده بودن که نیوز ستیشن و چیزا را attention گرفته بود برای story باز GoFund set up کرده بودن. Over the course of I think 3 to 6 months all across the United States, the GoFundMe was active on many channels on Facebook, and they were able to raise over $320,000 for the family.
So this is a great accomplishment, and nobody knows about this. So now we go to the different part of this. Basically, as far as communities, which community played a major role in this one to put all these funds and everything together for this family and reach him on all the time and ask him what they need and stuff like that? So can you name any organization?
So first and foremost, the most critical organization in terms of the janazah, the fatiha, the khatam, and all of the funeral services, the Afghan community had reached out to the Muslim Community Center of Pleasanton, MCC. And alhamdulillah, MCC, they were in the position to be able to support the expenses for the funeral and the khatam. How I became involved with the families, I live in Pleasanton and I went to the masjid to the khatam. And so from there, the MCC had tremendous amount of resources in terms of connecting the family with different resources. So the funding was going on the side, but the additional support that the family needed immediately was coordinated with the MCC along with Munir Safi, Amin Abdullah, and myself over the course of the period of quickly trying to coordinate everything while the funding was being raised. The funds that came from every walk of life. If you go back and you scroll at the records, you see people donating $5 to $1,000, and they're both from within the Muslim community, within the Afghan community, and within the those who are not of Islamic faith. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people resonated with the fact that this gentleman had served in the U.S. military. When the GoFundMe was set up, the media was reached out quite fast. And I think the media picked up on this, and that had a pivotal role in making sure that the story got out and that the funds were raised. Because normally GoFundMe will, if you're lucky enough, you can raise maybe $30,000 to $50,000 if you're lucky. The outpouring of support, people were like dropping off checks, people were dropping off money at their home. And the generosity was just endless from every walk. But I think the critical aspect was, one, getting it out to the media and reaching out to other communities. And then they just, story went viral.
In the meantime, people will basically, as far as rent, as far as food and other necessities, of course, the support was always there, right?
Yes, alhamdulillah, the food sources in نامختار کسا کلگی نان می آوردن, drop off میکردن, هر چی که کار داشتن. The rent, because the money was tied to the GoFundMe, it takes a while to get it. The father was the breadwinner of the family, so there's no other income source coming in. The MCC was picking up the costs, and they still continue to pick it up until the issues of the funding and the trust was set up for the family in the family's name. What's important is that people lose sight in their misinformation, which is disheartening in some ways because people try to reach out and help. And a lot of times there's a lot of negative that comes with it, and people are afraid to do that. And I think that's, regardless of which community it is, that is a human nature criteria that people have to just say, okay, I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So there was a lot of, even up to this date, and why it was important for me, and I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart to allow me to speak about it, is that even as early as today, people were saying, oh, we thought this family went back to Afghanistan. And so for me, it was very important to share the story that they're, alhamdulillah, healthy. They've lost an important person in their life. And over the course of the last year and a half, there have been many, many individuals and many organizations, both Muslim and non-Muslims, that have made this family a whole today who they are.
ماشاءالله. فارسی بگویم چیزی که آدم از این استوری میگیره تا بال هنوز در اصل جای ما نرسیدیم که چقدر بیوتیفول میشه، چقدر مقبول میشه این قصه. و این قصه نیست، یک واقعیت است دیگه، یک سرگذشت یک فامیل است که میبینین که در بین کمیونیتی بود دچار از این مشکلات میشه و چی رقم کمیونیتی دست به هم میتن و با دلسوزی، با اخلاص و محبت این فامیل از روز اول که فاجعه دچارشان میشه تا امروز یا را سپورت و پشتیبانی میکنن و تا امروز اینا به فکر آینده اولادایشان هستن که این قصه در این قسمت میره. و ما از پوزمای جان از شما یک سوال دیگه هم دارم. سوالی است که بسیاری کسا فکر میکنن، برای که هم باید روشن شود که در این قسمت راننده که درانک درایور بود، فکر میکنن که کدام لاسود در قسمت انشورنس طرف مقابل هم شده و در این قسمت شما چیز معلومات داره؟
Bali. So, it's public information. It's general information that, those individuals who work for Uber, they're not employees, so they don't get any benefits that way. The second is that Uber or Lyft or any of these companies will not cover they're not coverage. There is a litigation going on right now. There is a personal injury attorney that was retained on behalf of the family. The family's fully aware of what's going on. The third is the insurance company for the automobile is not covering it because he was driving for Uber. So the financial support from the actual incident itself is very minimal, and that's going to be litigated, and by the time it gets through, it will be not much to cover the family. One of the other important components that I want to reiterate is کسا که پسان میکرد که کجا پیسه گرفتن که یا خانه گرفتن یا چطور شد. I want to be clear that this individual was a very, very education oriented, very smart, very, very, I never knew him, I never met him. I didn't meet the family until I went to the janaza, and the mother was speaking Pakho, and I Pakho started wele, and then started marifistun. The father had bought a life insurance. So one thing I want to reiterate is there was about $500,000 in the life insurance for the family. And then in addition, the GoFundMe that was set up. So all of these funds together, we were able to set up a trust account with an estate attorney that fully gave her 100% of her pro bono hours. So what was critical was not only raising the money, which was astronomical, but then figuring out the tools and putting in place individuals and experts who could help in those. So we have a financial advisor who's fully given his support. We have an estate planning attorney in San Francisco, top-notch lawyer, who gave us all of her pro bono hours. We coordinated with community resource centers to coordinate. So all of those efforts were used to bring the family back today to where we are a year and a half later. So I just wanted to reiterate that there's not much money from the personal injury. And when people ask, well, how were you able to purchase the home? These are the sources of the funding.
Exactly. That's the reason I asked, I suppose, Majron, but a lot of people were they thinking maybe there was because of that, but I was trying to distinguish that with what community did for this family. So that's the reason I asked. I'm glad you clarified that. So, I suppose, Majron, this story now is a beautiful story because I just learned by the post that you did, and that they finally all these funds together, and they right now they own a house, and now obviously this is a paid off house in somewhere in Tracy. I'm not supposed to disclose the place yet, but somewhere close to Tracy area, a very good and established area. بیندای بسیار عزیز، این فامیلی که ما به این تراژدی گرفتار شدن، حال به نزدیک تریسی کالیفرنیا در اینجا همی پولایی که جمع آوری شده بود و کسایی که مسلمان ها و غیر مسلمان های پول با حساب در این قسمت برای فامیل کمک کرده بودن توسط از این برادرها و خورا و کمیونیتی ممبرهای صادق ما، یا کلش در تراست اکاونت. تراست اکاونت چیزی نیست که کسی پول از او بگیره. تراست یک گروپ با حساب میرن اکاونت آواز میکنن، اور کسی اجازه نداره که بدون اجازه ترستی یا کسی که مورد اعتماد است او را پول ازش بکشن و این تراست اکاونت میرن تصمیم میگیرن این خانه را برای اولادان میخرن و این خانه نزدیک امی شهر است که ما زندگی میکنیم. ما بسیار در این قسمت این از خاطر در فارسی بر شما شیر کردم. ببینید ما شما عقیده داریم میگیم اگر یک کسی از دنیا میره و یتیم از خود باقی میمانه، خداوند و چی میکنه؟ وسیله از او را به انواع و اقسام مختلف میکنه. سبحان الله. شما میبینید میگه هیچ چوچه زیر سبد نمیمانه. این افت یتیمی که میمانه با مادر که ایران است چی کنه؟ خداوند امروز از نظر اقتصادی و شرایط در موقف بسیار بهتر قرار میده. ما از این خاطر خواستم اشاره کنم. شما این حال درباره این پروسس یک چیز بگوین. اسپوجما جان، خانه را که گرفتین چی رقم یک شور شوق دایی بود، چی رقم گپا بود، این را سرش صحبت کنید انشالله خوب میشه.
خوامی ما یک مهم گپ بود که ما خودم اشتکا دارم، کل مسجدها، کل کسا که ما یک کمیری بودیم، منیر جان صافی، خود ما امین عبدالله زیادتر که در بین ما گپ میزدیم. ما میخواستیم که یا در یک شهر برن که با انشالله با آینده اشتکاشان پیش برن. همین جایی که منطقه که یا هستن مکتبایشان تاپ ناچ مکتبایشان هستن، 3 تا مسجد هستن، طرف MCC هستن. وقتی که کل پروسس که یک دفعه فهمیدیم که مادر جانشان میخواست که همین منطقه رو ما بردمش خودم که یاد جوشانش دادم که خوش داری، بسیار خوش بگفتم این منطقه رو خوش دارم. باز خانه که پیشش میگشتم، خانه یک ویل استیت ایجنت به نام یالدا مجددی، بسیار یک ویل استیت ایجنت مهربان بود که ما کمک کرد خانه یافتیم. بعد از اینکه همین خانه رو خریدم، یک چیز است که همین کلی پیسه که برای جمع شده بود در اعتماد فامیلی تراست اکانت هم که شما گفتین. This is all done with an estate planning attorney. Everything is on the record for the family in the family's name. Nothing is in anyone else's name, and I think that's very important to make sure that those things are put in place. یک دفعه که پیش خانه میرفتیم فهمیدیم که خانه میخریدیم، این خانه رو خوش کرده بود. And then the next task was to coordinate how to furnish the home. And alhamdulillah, you know, the Tri-Valley, the Pleasanton area, what I did is I posted in the San Ramon Valley Islamic Center Facebook, the Next Door app in the Tri-Valley, and then also a group called Pleasanton Community Group. And alhamdulillah, I would say within a span of 3 days, we had tremendous amount of support of not only mildly used furnishings, but almost brand new stuff that were like being bought and being delivered. And so what was important in this, and I think the lesson to learn from it is that if someone is able to take on a task like this, it's not doable by one person. I may just be the speck of it, but there are 100, you know, different components of people that came together to make it what it is today. And like I said, it takes a village to raise a child. That's similar to it takes a village to do a project like this. And so we had outpouring of support. We had the U-Haul rentals for free donated. We got the U-Haul trucks donated. And this is all from outside of our Muslim community. People wanted to help. We got, as you can see the pictures, we got a bike donated for every child and a helmet donated. So everything was furnished from the home from the beginning all the way till now. So we were also able to get volunteers that came in and assembled all the furnitures. We also had volunteers who came in and loaded all the furnitures from Pleasanton to their home, so that everything was a project. It wasn't just one person doing it. And it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy, but alhamdulillah, the end results are what you see right now.
الحمدلله سپاسگزارم. بسیار راستی قصه بسیار جالب و این آموزنده است. ببینید پشت سر عکس ما بک‌گراند اینا رو آوردیم. این جوانایی هستن که والنتیر هستن که کمک کردن این فامیل و شما سعی کنین. ما قراره که ما شما سر از صحبت کردیم در مو منطقه کسایی که بودن برادرها و خوارای مسلمان ما نان برای آوردن که به حساب باعث میمان به ایمانانی که یا پول نان نداشتن ناله. اما ببینید این میمان نوازی را سعی کنین. این بایسکلای زیاد سعی کنین و کسایی که برزی که طفلا فکر نکنن که یتیم هستن. باور کنین این کلانترین مسیج است که ما برای کمیونیتی خود میتیم که هر چیزی را که ما تصمیم بگیریم و که اون کار نیک و خیر باشه انشالله این impossible نیست possible است. و شما چیز impossible الحمدلله با توفیق الله possible ساختین است که خودتان گفتین. پس هر دریمی که ما داریم که در راه راست باشه که دیگران را کمک کنیم حتما ما یعنی چی میگن تصمیم گرفتن توانستن هست. یعنی کسی که تصمیم میگیره میتونه، کسی که تصمیم میگیره اراده میکنه. و گپ شما میست که به تنهایی آدم نمیتونه کار کنه، به صورت گروپ کار کنه آدم و کلکی را اکنالج کنه و هدف یکی باشه دیگه. ما والا بسیار خوشحال هستم از اینکه شما الحمدلله خانم نصیری که دایی شما سم داشتین و بسیار دایی زحمت کشیدین. خداوند برای شما اجر بده. و بنال قدم دیگه ازی که میمونه نیست که این اطفال در اینجا جایگزین شدن. قرار که ما شما صحبت قبلی داشتیم. Now they are looking for some community members to reach them and tell them, you know, what they want as far as emotional support, spiritual support, and other stuff. And also they need tutors. You know, some people, if they can help them with their school, because a couple of them, you know, they're behind based on what you said. So I ask everybody if they can just somehow, and in this case, if they want to help, which number, how they're going to contact them. And are you willing to release a contact number or what we should do about this? Because this is important, inshallah.
So normally I would give the MCC number, but because of COVID-19, the MCC is closed as all of the masjids are. I think it would be a little overwhelming for the 17-year-old. I'm happy to share my personal number. And if someone has any contacts, the children speak English and they speak Pashto. Dear Muyim, these that are komak paindak to Varisigi, especially the older one. I think they need role models and mentors. And I think the place that we put them in, alhamdulillah, has 3 masjids. And there are people, even as you and I are speaking, I'm getting text messages saying, oh, somebody just came to the door and delivered food for us. We don't know where to put it because it's too much food. So the love and the continued support is just pouring in, and may Allah continue to give this family barakat for all that they've suffered. If people do want to help in terms of, you know, taking a child on and mentoring them, you can certainly share my personal information. You have that, and they can contact me. And the other thing is I'm getting a lot of messages about items being donated. Alhamdulillah, we got everything right now. And the best way is to continue to give financial support, as there's no breadwinner. At this moment, the oldest is 17, and she's going to be a senior in high school, inshallah. So, you know, the financial support is always needed because this family has to live on certain income because some of the public benefits were cut off due to the funding that were raised for them. So that's a continued need. So if anybody wants to donate, they can certainly donate the check to the Etimad family, and I can coordinate with you on how to get that to the family directly.
Yeah, that'd be great. سپوجما جان واقعا این قصه یعنی این چی میگم لایف استوری است. برای بعضی کسا بسیار یعنی شاکینگ است که یک حالت سر یک فامیل به باز به این مقبولی به جای برسه. خود طبعا مسائل materials, house, this and that is good, financial support, emotional support, and also they lost their father. They need some figures to at least become a role model for them و به یا برسن یا را ناز بدن. من یک چیز از شما شنیدم، من اشکایم آمد، گفتین طفل خودش که وقتی که شما از خانهشان نبرامدین با شما چی گفت؟ که وقتی که میرفت گفت تو میری خود اینجا نمی باشی امرای ما، اما تو یک چیز گفت
یعنی کالای سبز که باشید
ببخشید تکرار کنید. امیر تکرار کنید، کنده شدم اونجا. بفرمایید تکرار کنید.
یک بچگکش که کالای سبز می عکس پوشیده به من پشتو گفت که من گفتم من میرم، گفت و چی ریزیم عزیزم کورتا و نه داده تا کورت دیدم مکسر من نزخم باشه من نرم کورت زم بیا من تو you promised to come back. I said yes, inshallah I'll be back. But these kids are very shy. They've been traumatized, and building those relationships and letting them see that there's a community to help them, and inshallah they will continue to remember these happy moments and these transitions and how everybody came together, particularly the older ones. And so I think that the message that I would send out to the community is that I believe me, we're all busy. We all have lives. We all have stuff. But I think the motivation for me to continue this work was that I took on the responsibility. And if I walked away, who else is going to do it? And I think that for those who want to help in some, you might not be able to do as much as one person does or the other. But I think that when we hear such tragedies, whether from any walks of life, and we're able to give in some meaningful way, Allah gives you tenfold.
Inshallah. بیننده های بسیار محترم، ما کوشش کردیم که صحبت خلاصه بسازیم، کوتاه بسازیم، اما درسایی که دهی است قراره که ما گفتم انشاءالله من سرزی تفسیره خواهد کردم در این پروگرام که صبح 6 بجه که امروز 6 بجه برزی پروگرام دیشب ثبت شده بود و ما از اسپوز مجان بسیار زیاد تشکری میکنم که در این گرفتاریایی که داری خودت تایمت بر ما دادی و این قصر امرای ما شریک ساختی و که بینده های ما از این آگاه شوند و بر زیاد دعا کنن و هر نوع همکاری کمکی که از دستشان نه تنها بر از این فامیل، هر فامیل دیگه که غم زده است و یتیم دارن و مشکلات دارن، شاید بسیار فامیلای دیگه باشه که ما ازشان خبر نباشیم. وظیفه ما و شما میست که چیزی که خداوند بر ما داده، اگه استعداد داده، اگه زبان داده، اگه پول داده، اگه دارایی و مقام و شهرت، ما این شریک شیم که دیگرها به نفع جامعه خود استفاده کنیم و خداوند این دوست داره. خدمت مردم خدمت خداست. باور کنین هزارها سال عبادت کرده، اگه آدم اشک یک یتیم پاک میکنه، دست نوازش سر یک یتیم کش میکنه، این خداوند بسیار دوست داره. برای که عبادت خودش است و میتونه ببخشه شما را، اما این بسیار مهم است. دیگه ما افتخار میکنم که ما انسان ها و شخصیت های مثل اسپوج مایجان و اکثر کسای برادر صافی، منیر صافی را من میشناسم، واقعا یک انسان بسیار با احساس است، مسجد MCC فعال هستند و غیره برادرایی که اسمشان من نتونستم بگیرم و انشاءالله بر کلشان دعای خیر میکنیم که یا موفق شدن که فامیل تا این قسمت برسانن و دیگهش وظیفه ما و شماست با همکاری از یا دیگه. اگر کدام پیام آخر یا مسیج آخر دارین اسپوز مجان بفرمایین بگوین، در غیر از ما میخوایم که شما را دیگه زیاد باعث تکلیف نشیم.
بسیار زیاد محترم، تشکر از دعوتتان، تشکر از وقتتان. ډیر مننه چې تاسو ماته دا وخت راکړئ چې دا شیرین story شریک وکم. Just one inspiring thing is just that there's a lot of misinformation about the story and what happened, and I just wanted to inshallah share that alhamdulillah, if you do the right thing, you can accomplish a lot. And I want people to be aware that this family got there, that no one took the money, no one took the resources, they did not go back to Afghanistan. They're going to flourish here inshallah and make something of themselves and their father's memory. And may Allah bless you for the continued work that you do and all that the community does. And thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to seeing this family grow up. And I joked with one of them, I said, when I'm old, you're going to be my doctor. And he said, inshallah.
That's beautiful. Inshallah they will, So تشکر بازم اسپوج جان از وقت.
تشکر.
inshallah من یک چیز براتون اطمینان میتم، میگه هر جای دود است آتش است. هر جایی که آدم کار، هر جایی که آتش است دود است. کسی که کار میکنه همیشه زیر، خصوصا در جامعه ما شما مسائل منفی بافی، مسائل چیزایی که ما انفارمیشن نداریم در باش سواد یک مرض است. و شما گفته امیره که آدم برای خدا میکنه، چیزی که خداوند میدونه بنده آدم چی را پنهان کنه و شما کردین الحمدلله و کل ثابت کردین و این فامیل امروز موفق است. بر شما دعا میکنم شب و روز شما خوش، با فامیلتان خوش و آرام باشین و ان شاء الله تعالی امیدوار هستیم که داینده در پروگرام‌های مسائل مهاجرت یا ما شما اما تو پروگرام‌های کوتاه داشته باشیم که بعضی معلومات‌های لازمه به کمیونیتی برسونیم اگه شما موافقت کنید ان شاء الله تعالی.
بسیار زیاد تشکر. خداحافظ.
خدا حافظ. با امان خدا. شب خوش.